Man, we're in interesting times, aren't we? Some would call it interesting, some would call it scary. I'm going to stick with interesting for now. So, China has snatched up huge amounts of gold over the past 16 months in a row. The People's Bank of China added roughly 390,000 troy ounces of gold in February, according to government data cited by Bloomberg. So, in total, China's central bank holds 72.58 million troy ounces of gold, or roughly 2,257 tons. And gold just hit record highs, Bitcoin just hit record highs. What the hell is going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. People are starting to realize that fiat currency is one big scam. People are losing confidence in the dollar and other fiat currencies. And considering the only value of the dollar and other fiat currencies is strictly people's confidence in it, that's not good. Well, it's actually not good for fiat currency, but I think it's great because we should have never went to a fiat currency system to begin with. People are finally waking up. So that is one of the reasons that China is buying so much gold right now. They're trying to fight the dollar's dominance like many other countries. But China's economy is also struggling right now, right? I mean, everyone knows about the whole Evergrande situation by now, and that continues to put a strain on their economy. They're currently suffering from a cycle of deflation, which could lead to recession, and we're going to see what happens with that. But it's not like China is alone with their economic struggles, right? I mean, UK and Japan just recently slipped into recession, joining Ireland and Finland, and 18 other countries are at risk of recession. It's almost like there's a whole big domino effect starting to take place, which really isn't surprising because all of the world's economy is intertwined, whether it's exports and imports, or energy markets, or supply chains and manufacturing, or currency markets. We're all intertwined. More and more countries are falling into trouble, and it's like a domino effect has been set in motion. And by the way, China isn't the only ones buying large amounts of gold. The US is also on a record buying spree as well. And central banks around the world are buying record amounts of gold. I never listen to what the central banks are telling me. What I do is I pay attention to what they're actually doing. And buying large amounts of gold is definitely something that central banks are doing right now. Let's just take a look at how much each country has in gold. So, what you see here is the top 17 countries by gold reserves in tons. The United States clearly leads the way with 8,133 tons of gold. Then you have Germany with 3,352. So the US basically has more than double anyone else on the list, which isn't surprising. Then you got Italy with 2,451 tons. France has 2,436. Russia, 2,332. And then there's China with 2,235. And then from there, everyone else has less than half of China, and it just, of course, keeps going down. What's crazy is that I believe the US actually has more gold reserves than all of the BRICS nations combined. Maybe China is trying to close the gap here, but they have a long ways to go. The most likely case is that China is continuing this gold buying spree for multiple reasons. And my best guess is it's being done for the following. Number one, to fight the dominance of the dollar. Two, to insulate its weakening financial system. And then number three is to strengthen whatever the BRICS nations have planned, considering they want to use a gold backed currency. Now, a lot of people look at BRICS and they say, okay, well, you're trying to create this gold backed currency to help kill the dominance of the dollar and the United States. But the United States has more gold than all of you BRICS countries combined. Won't that just bring the same problem? And I think the answer to that is that initially the US would still have a major advantage, obviously, based off the fact that they have a large amount of gold compared to everyone else. But if BRICS was ever successful in what they're trying to do, it would definitely put a major dent in the United States long term. Because a lot of the United States dominance is based off the fact that the world is dependent on the US dollar. And the US prints a whole lot of US dollars. Doing so gives them a huge advantage. Yes, when the US prints, it causes inflation within the United States, but A lot of the inflation is drained out to the rest of the world because of the dependence on the dollar outside the United States. The US is in a unique situation where they can limit the amount of damage that's done within the United States with inflation from money printing by casting that out into the other countries. So, if BRICS were ever successful, I think it would definitely throw a wrench in things for the US, like in a long term plan. But regardless, outside of that, I think the world is waking up. People are feeling the inflation, literally, right? They're being forced into education on the detrimental effects of inflation from a fiat currency system because it's smacking them right in the mouth. Economies are falling further in trouble, and it's only going to get worse because many of these economies are being propelled by debt right now. Just look at the credit card numbers for the United States. A by far record $1.13 trillion in credit card debt right now. You hear the reports how, consumer spending is keeping the US economy growing. The problem is it's being done through credit cards. So, China buying this massive amounts of gold is no surprise at all. Record high gold prices, zero surprise. Record high Bitcoin prices, zero surprise. These are all things that go to fight a fiat currency which seems to be tumbling based off everything going on around the world. I'm expecting to see a very large bull run for both gold and Bitcoin. And considering the amount of gold that's currently being bought by China and central banks around the world, this is by far less than surprising. You follow what the central banks are doing, not what they are telling you. That's a motto to live by to make the right moves financially. Make sure you throw a comment below if you have anything to add. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch you soon.